Masking in Photoshop can be made faster and easier if you learn a number of key commands. Now, the best way to learn these key commands is to use them, but while you're getting used to them, I recommend you make a list, and in fact I've prepared one for you here on my website, johnpaulcaponegro.com. Under Lessons, Technique, and finally, under Masking, you'll find a complete list and many other useful resources as well. First, let's make a mask. We're going to get a very simple mask. It's not about making a fancy mask, it's about learning what masks can do and how we can control them. Making an adjustment layer with an active selection, automatically a mask is created. The area selected becomes white. The area not selected becomes black. The lightest area being that area that's affected. So the mask is automatically created. Now, that's not the case if you make an image layer. I'm using the image layer icon here in the Layers palette, or you could go under the menu, New Layer. Notice the selection remains active, but there's no mask added. I can use the icon here in the Layers palette to create the mask, then the selection disappears and the mask is also created. You can find that as well under the Layer menu, Layer Mask, and all of the options are here. The default behavior is Reveal Selection, where the area selected is white. You can do a number of things to control these. You can drop and drag a mask from one layer onto another and replace it. It moves it off one layer and onto another. You can hold the Option key as you drop and drag a mask from one layer to another, and that will copy the mask rather than taking it off of one and moving it onto the other. I'm also using the all-important Undo key. Command Z will undo all of these effects as well. To see the mask, you can hold the Option key and click on it. To see it as a Ruby overlay, Option and Shift keys will give you the red overlay. That's the default, something that you can change. If you hold a Shift key alone, then the mask is disabled. With a correction like this, you'd see an effect something like this to the entire image, but with the mask on, notice you see only the masked area being affected. And most of these key commands are toggles. You can load any of these masks as selections by holding the Command key first and then clicking. And you can add to that selection when you hold a Shift key along with the Command key. Now both masks are added into a single selection. You can subtract one mask from another by holding the Option and Command keys. You can even, after I deselect, Command D, you can even take the intersection by holding Shift, Option, and Command all together. Click once, click twice, and you get the intersection of the two masks. There are a lot of ways to remove a mask. You can simply drag it to the trash. If you prefer to have the masks there but want to fill it with another color, then you can do that with the foreground color selected here. Any shade of gray will work. The defaults black and white work very well. By holding Option Delete, you fill with your foreground color. Hitting the X key, another really useful key command, you can reverse the foreground and background colors. Option Delete will now fill with white, as you like. And if I hold the Option Command Z, I can cycle back to a history state that I prefer. While you've got the mask activated, you can quickly invert the mask by hitting Command I for invert, and that will reverse the foreground-background or black-white relationships. A very useful key command. So you can navigate through all of these options. With a little practice, you'll remember the ones that you use. So I recommend that you try these. Start with the simple ones, the ones that help you view it. And also, you can lean on the menus in the meantime for some of these other effects. One of the ones that's most useful is tapping the Control key and then clicking on the mask will reveal this menu. Disable, delete, add, subtract, intersect, apply. All of these can be done with key commands, but these last two can't be. The Refine mask is a very powerful palette that will help you refine any of your masks i.e. selections, and finally the mask options, where you can change the color of the mask, the default red, or its opacity when you hold the Shift and Option keys to see the overlay. All of these key commands are well worth learning. I think even if you just learned 80% of them, they would help a great deal, speeding your time in Photoshop and making it a lot more enjoyable. Again, I don't expect you to learn all of these all at once. There are useful resources on my website, John Paul Caponegro. Under Lessons, Technique, Masking, you can find a complete list there and many other resources. If you find this video helpful and these resources, share them.